Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be talking about a severe weather outbreak that's still going on. It's expected to continue later today across parts of southeastern Texas, most of Louisiana, even into parts of southern Mississippi, far southwestern Alabama, maybe into parts of the panhandle of Florida. We're also going to be talking about kind of going beyond here, a little bit in the long range here. There'll be a large cutoff low to be situated up across parts of the Ohio Valley on the backside. We're going to see some multiple rounds of showers. It'll be chilly and also be a little bit windy as well. The nor'easter will finally move out away from the New England states. We'll talk about Halloween as well. See what the forecast is looking like across the United States for Halloween. So we're going to get started with the watch warning map, and you do see here. Then again, we got severe weather going on across far eastern Texas and the west parts of central and western Louisiana. And those yellow boxes, that's a tornado watch that's currently in effect here. And those yellow boxes, those are severe thunderstorm warnings. We already had several tornadoes already this morning, and one of those might have been on the strong side. And the severe weather threat is not over yet. Really, for the rest of the state of Louisiana, especially southeastern Louisiana, you guys will likely see some severe weather later today, even into parts of far southern Mississippi, southwestern Alabama, even to parts of the Panhandle of Florida as well. Could certainly see some severe weather later today. We also got wind advisories across a good chunk of Texas, western Oklahoma, even to parts of Kansas as well. Similar situation for a good chunk of Alabama and Georgia, even some up in Montana. Flash flood watches up in parts of northwestern Washington. We also got wind advisories in southeastern Massachusetts, even to parts of Connecticut, and also Rhode Island. That's where we had that nor'easter overnight, which has produced winds between 70 to, I guess, close to 90 miles an hour in some places. So we'll be talking a little bit about the nor'easter as well. But the main story today is going to be the severe weather into parts of the south. Here's the severe weather outlook here. We have the enhanced risk for severe weather across southeastern Texas and even for southern Louisiana as well. You got the standard slight risk from southeastern Texas into parts of the western panhandle of Florida. The biggest threat today, one of the biggest threats, I should say, for today will be that tornado threat. You have that 10% within that enhanced risk, and it's also hatched, which that means there is a chance for some strong tornadoes as well within the hatch region, which may get expanded a little further to the east here. Damage winds will also be there. We're not expecting much of any hail today. Hail should stay below quarter size for today. Then as we look into tomorrow, we've got that standard slight risk from parts of central Florida up into parts of the Carolinas here. The main threats, there could be some isolated tornadoes. Damage winds could be there. Not expecting much of any hail out there as well. And then on day 3, not expecting any severe weather on day 3. So we got a couple days of severe weather. A couple more days of severe weather, I should say. Severe weather yesterday across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas were not that bad last night, at least tornado-wise. What was pretty bad was those winds within some of those thunderstorms, where a lot of thunderstorms produce winds between 70 to 80 miles an hour. And I've heard that one of the Mesonet sites had wind gusts of 86 miles per hour. I'm not sure where it is, but that's what I've been told as well. So some of them storms were pretty impressive last night, but tornado-wise, there was not much in the way of tornadoes. However, that's probably going to change today. We already had several tornadoes, especially in eastern Texas. Some of those might have been on the strong side. We just got an updated outlook here, I believe. No, not just yet, but it's almost there. We'll check that out at the end of the video. But here's your surface-based CAPE here, and your surface low at this point here will be somewhere up in northeastern Texas here, which I believe the pressure is at least below 1,000 millibars. But look at all this instability. I mean, 3,000 plus across parts of southern Louisiana. That's pretty high for this time of year. But look out in the Gulf of Mexico, 6,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE. That's very high. Imagine if this was pretty far. Imagine if this was further to the north. Some of those higher numbers of instability will be situated up in Louisiana. That would have been a more significant situation there for severe weather. That could certainly mean a tornado outbreak if that were to happen. But right now, we have a lot of instability across parts of southern Louisiana. Even at least 2,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE is quite a bit of CAPE for this time of year. And we also got areas of 3,000 plus, which is uh, very favorable for severe weather. If we do check out the mixed layer CAPE here, it's 2,000 plus out there as well, which is still favorable for some severe weather. The bulk shear, the wind shear, there's a lot of wind shear out there. If we do check out the story to felicity numbers, it's 200 plus out there. And that's where we certainly will likely see some of the tornado action here. And this might get expanded a little over time here, but since it's kind of in the early afternoon here or late morning, some of these numbers will probably back off a little bit. But then when we kind of get towards the evening hours, that's when these numbers will go back up. But either way, it's still plenty of wind shear out there. If we do check out the significant tornado parameters, we do have at least a 1 getting up to parts of west central Louisiana here, even to parts of southeastern Louisiana. But this area right here in south central Louisiana, that's a 2. That could mean the potential for some stronger tornadoes. That's what the environment is favorable for, is some stronger tornadoes. And the significant tornado parameters do indicate that in this general area right in here may be favorable for some strong tornadoes. So we have to watch for that area fairly closely as well. That's where we have the greatest combination of wind shear and instability. And of course, it's pretty favorable for supercells out ahead of the front. This is your supercell composite, got at least an 8 across most of southern Louisiana as well. As this system continues to move to the east here, a lot of these numbers will be shifting further to the east as well. So don't get fooled about of the southeast of Louisiana, because later today, you guys will probably see an environment like it is out on the other side of the state, which we'll check out the HRRR model in a little bit. If there's not even anything else to check out in here, which I don't think there is. Yeah, I don't think so, but let's go check out the HRRR model here. So this is the latest run here. So here comes your cluster of thunderstorms here. We're not expecting much of a way of strong tornadoes along this front here. However, it has produced some tornadoes out there as well. So even along the squall line of storms there, we could still see isolated tornadoes along that squall line here, along with that damage of wind threat. But the storms out ahead of the front has that greatest risk for stronger tornadoes, which you can see here. It does show that kind of over the Lake Charles area down there. And as we kind of get later in the day here, check this out here. Getting closer to the evening hours, the late afternoon or early evening hours, check out these storms here out in southeast Louisiana. Those storms will be the ones we have to pay attention to for the potential for stronger tornadoes here. And just behind that, you got this big squall line of storms that's continuing to move on to the east here. They'll be eventually moving into parts of southwestern Mississippi there. And this would kind of continue on a little later into the nighttime hours. Things start to fall apart just a little bit here. You also do notice here, here's your surface low up in central Arkansas. Your actual cold front is still back here, but we're not expecting much of a way of redevelopment. Maybe on the northern end at the front here, closer to the low, but we're still not expecting much of a way of any redevelopment here, because these storms here will be using up all this energy that the atmosphere has got here. And this severe weather threat could certainly continue on throughout the night here into parts of far southern Alabama, into parts of the Florida Panhandle as well. And eventually it may move into parts of central Florida by tomorrow morning. So the severe weather threat could certainly continue into the overnight hours. We'll check out the the significant tornado parameters, and typically the models are a little bit overdone when it comes to significant tornado parameters. And as we check out with the HER model here, you do see here with some of those pretty elevated numbers here, especially out ahead of the front here, or the line of storms. You can see those with those significant tornado parameter numbers are pretty elevated. And one thing I do notice here is that the Hermos was a little bit underdone with the instability here. It shows 2200 out there, when in reality it's a little over 3000. So the Hermos may be a little bit underdone with the instability here, but either way, it's still favorable for some severe weather. You do have a pretty good hodograph there. Story to felicity numbers are favorable for tornadoes. Downdraft cape will be favorable for damage winds. Similar situation for the low level lap rates. You have some wind direction of height here as well. So this is certainly favorable for tornadoes and damage winds as well. That wind shear is certainly going to help with that severe weather threat. And then you can see here, as we kind of get to the evening hours here, you do see some of these significant weather parameter numbers start to go up in southeastern Louisiana. It's still a very similar environment out here. Pretty good hodograph there. Plenty of instability. Downdraft cape and low lap rates is supportive for strong winds. And sorry to felicity numbers or wind shear. It's also favorable for severe weather as well. So very similar situation out there as well. And we could get lucky enough that the tornado threat may stay offshore here. Hopefully that's the case here. That the tornado threat kind of stays offshore, mainly in the Gulf of Mexico here. Hopefully that'll be the case here to the overnight hours. But we'll still have to watch the Panhandle, Florida, and southwestern Alabama around that same time frame. So that's certainly an area that we're going to need to watch for as well. If we check out the supercell composite here, really quickly here, you do see here, then again, the environment will be favorable for supercells out there. Especially early on in the day here. I mean, check out these numbers here. This is at 17Z, so this is kind of into the mid-afternoon. And then again, you can see here, pretty favorable for tornadoes with that hodograph. Wind shear certainly favorable. Plenty of instability. And also your downdraft cape is also favorable as well. And you also got the wind direction of height as well. So certainly favorable for that tornado threat and that damage wind threat as well. And it seems like the worst of the threat here for tornadoes should stay offshore here in the Gulf of Mexico, but there could certainly be some very large water spouts out there as well. So certainly something we got to watch here throughout the day here in southern Louisiana, even into parts of southern Mississippi as well. Here's something I've never shown before on the channel. This is what we call the NATO cast, and this is a combination of some parameters and also two different models, which that is the Arch REF and the SREF models. And the reason why I'm showing this because for what I've seen over the last several events, it has been fairly accurate when it comes to tornado probabilities. And you can certainly see here, the bullseye definitely looks to be southern Louisiana, which I highly agree with here. In fact, this is certainly the area we need to watch for. Similar to the SPC forecast, but it does show slightly higher probabilities here, a little bit closer to the coastline as well, which honestly I do agree with that as well. But I think we're going to hold on with that 10% for now. The ball does have the tendency to be a little bit overdone with the probabilities. But then again, it's still something to watch here very closely here as well. And I believe so far it's been pretty accurate out in eastern Texas here, if I'm correct. And you can see here with that 5% tornado probability does go down along to parts of southern Alabama and also parts of the Florida Panhandle as well. So certainly something you need to watch here. But anybody that lives into parts of southern Louisiana, which includes the Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, and the New Orleans area, be sure to have a way to get warnings out there as well. Just be prepared if you're going to be under a tornado warning later today. Just be prepared to take shelter or anything like that. So that's pretty much it for the severe weather side of things. We'll talk about a little bit of long range here. And another big story for today here is this nor'easter, and it was a bomb cyclone overnight. I believe it dropped a lot of pressure in a very short period of time here, which certainly was called a bomb cyclone, and it brought in some significant winds across parts of Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, which has caused a lot of people to lose power. As we do check out the power outages out there at the New England states here, if we do click on there, you can see here Massachusetts does take the lead here with a total of 486,000 people without power. And these are the areas here that certainly got the strongest of the winds here. And we have winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour. I think some areas got over 80 miles per hour in some places here, but there's certainly some significant winds here, which has caused a lot of tree damage out there as well. Rhode Island has a little over 82,000 people. Connecticut's got 13,600. Maine, 5,000. New Hampshire, 3,200. And Vermont only has 22 people without power. Then you go to the south here. Texas has over 82,000 people without power. Louisiana has 4,830 people without power as well. Don't be surprised if that number does go up throughout the day here, as well as that severe weather threat does continue across Louisiana. But sorry, some pretty impressive stuff there, and hopefully a lot of those people could get their power back very soon up in the New England states. But the nor'easter will be moving out those areas later today. So this is the GFS model here. Here's your strong surface low that will be up in Arkansas here. That'll be bringing severe weather across parts of Louisiana, Mississippi later today. And as we move on to Thursday here, that severe weather threat shifts a little bit more into parts of the Carolinas, southern Georgia, even to parts of Florida as well. Your surface low starts to slow down here because it's going to become a cutoff low. And typically for cutoff lows, it slowly dies down over time, but it kind of sits over some of the same areas. You can kind of see here it kind of moves a little bit to the northeast, and then kind of just sits there over the Ohio Valley region, which areas in the Ohio Valley and parts of the northeast, you guys will see multiple rounds of showers. A lot of people should see a general 1 to 2 inches of rain across a lot of those regions as well. Not expecting much of any flash flooding issues, however, areas across parts of Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, even to parts of Pennsylvania and New Jersey could see some more flooding out of the system here. As you do have this little moisture stream kind of going over some of the same areas here, which they've already experienced flooding from the nor'easter the other day. So this could certainly bring in some more flooding issues across parts of the New England states. And then eventually it's going to start to slowly move out. And then we start to see our next system here. And now we're getting to the Halloween time period. We start to see this cold front that moves into parts of the northern plains. That's going to bring us some snow across parts of the mountains of Wyoming and Montana. And this we kind of get to Halloween night here. Here's your cold front out here. And this is the Halloween forecast from the GFS model. And it shows showers, at least in the lower elevations, snow in the mountains in Colorado, even to parts of Utah as well. The northeast could see isolated to scattered showers. It'll be chilly as well, so it's not going to be the best weather up at northeast. It's going to be pretty cold across the northern plains, the upper Midwest. Meanwhile, everywhere else is going to stay mostly dry, and it's probably going to be on the milder side across parts of the south here and even across the west as well. So this could be some pretty nice weather for Halloween as well. But generally, in most of the United States, not bad weather for Halloween this year, which is some good news there. So now we get past Halloween. Now we're in November. This is where things get very interesting here. So your front starts to stall out a little bit, really from parts of the Central Plains up into parts of the Great Lakes region. It'll start to slowly move to the southeast. Then it starts to become a stationary front, and we may try to and see if a low could develop along that front. If so, look what happens here. Some snow in the higher elevations. If it does get into the overnight hours, some other areas may get to see some snow as well. And then what happens here is, well, a low could develop along that front, and we could see some snow. on the cold side. So certainly something very interesting to watch, and the models have been pretty consistent with it as well. So it's something very interesting there, but it's definitely something to watch here very closely here. But certainly early November could be a winter setup, more like winter across parts of the northern plains, the Midwest and Great Lakes, even to parts of the Ohio Valley and Northeast. Could certainly be like winter here. But it could be signs that an early winter may come in a little bit early this year as well. If we do check out the Canadian model, which will go back to 0Z since it's updating currently, then again you see that same cold front, and it does show a little bit more snow up into parts of Wyoming, even to parts of Nebraska. Could be a snowstorm if it were to be correct. But then again, it shows that system kind of developing along that front, and I'm not really buying much into this right now. If it's correct, it may show a snowstorm across parts of across parts of the Southern Plains. And I'm not really going to buy much into that right now. But then again, it's something to watch very closely here. But it certainly looks like that early November could be more like winter here across the central and eastern United States. But anyways, guys, that's all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, put in the comment section down below. I answer you guys questions. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.